Good evening. I as well would like to welcome all the candidates and participants this evening. My name is Phyllis Harris, and I'm a member of the Champlin Women of Today, and we are participating with the League of Women Voters in presenting this forum. The Women of Today is a nonprofit volunteer organization, and our purpose is service, growth, and fellowship, service to the community, and growth and fellowship among our members, and this is described more fully in the brochure which is available to you. I would like to focus a little bit on the service aspect of our chapter. We hold a number of fundraising events throughout the year to raise money to distribute to the community. Some of the groups that we have participated with are the Champlin Police Explorers, the March of Dimes, Scleroderma Foundation, various cancer foundations, domestic violence prevention centers, and Better Together. We also undertake a 3-year priority project, and starting in 2015, we will be working with a group that's called Breaking Free, which deals with human trafficking, and you can speak with some of us after to find out more about this program. Our main fundraiser is the craft show, which is coming up now the first weekend in November. It is November 1st at Champlin Park High School, and every year this is done, $1,000 goes directly to the school, and the school uses this however it wishes. One year our funds helped to purchase the updated electronic scoreboards for the swim team, and another year they purchased assignment notebooks for every child in the school. Another $1,000 to $1,200 is earmarked for our Santa Helpers program, and our group sponsors up to 10 children in the Champlin-Dayton area who would not have a Christmas. The names of the families are obtained through the referral from the community, and all of these names are confidential. Other monies that we have donated are to the Senior Citizen Center, the library, and the police and fire departments in Champlin. Our group was founded, the Champlin Women of Today, in 1989, and I would just like to point out some of the contributions that we've made to the community since then. For the police department, we donated approximately $14,000 for the digital stoplights. We purchased a defibrillator. One of our members, Jill Kirshner, started the McGruff program in the city, and we purchased the McGruff costume. Outside the police department building, you probably have seen the statue of the policeman and the child. This is the Jamie Lurs Memorial, which we donated. With the fire department, we purchased 911 pagers for all of the volunteer firemen. We helped with the basket stretcher and the DVD training for the fire department, and we were also helpful in purchasing the Jaws of Life. Our chapter is available to help the city and to any of the other community groups, so please contact us if you have any projects that are coming up. And I would now like to introduce Jerry Nelson from the League of Women Voters.
Thank you, Phyllis. And welcome to the candidates and to the audience. We've got a full house here, and we hope to have a full house on cable TV, as this is shown several times, and also will be available on YouTube. The League of Women Voters has been active doing this kind of thing for 94 years. And we're proud to bring this opportunity to you. There's no better way to decide who you're going to vote for than to have the candidates side by side and be able to hear their answers to the same questions. So enjoy tonight, and we will. I would like to now introduce our moderator for tonight, Linda Rogers.
Welcome to this forum for candidates for Mayor and City Councils 1 and 2 in the great city of Champlin. This forum is sponsored by the Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids Area League of Women Voters. I'm Linda Rogers, a member of the League and a resident of Anoka, so I cannot vote for any of these candidates. The League of Women Voters is an ambitious organization, 94 years strong. It does these things: encourages the informed and active participation of all citizens in all levels of government, works to increase understanding of major policy issues, influences public policy through education and advocacy. But here's what the League doesn't do. The League doesn't support or oppose any political party or candidate. Instead, the League provides voter education opportunities such as this forum to bring the candidates and their views to the voters. The views expressed are those of the candidates and not of the League. If you're interested in the League of Women Voters, go online and Google us. And by the way, women can join. Of course, you might know by the title of the organization, but men are welcome as well, because there's enough work to go around. All candidates for these offices were invited to participate this evening, and the candidates participating are Armand Nelson and Ryan Sabas for the mayor of Champlin, Ryan Karasik and Ron Rosen for City Council Ward 1. Eric Johnson for City Council Ward 2. We will build the evening this way. Mayoral candidates will make 2-minute opening statements. Then we'll take questions from the audience, responding within 1 minute, and then make 1-minute closing statements. Then we will move to Ward 2 in the same manner. And then finally, for Ward 1 first, and then we'll move to City Council Ward 2, but since there is one candidate, there will be half the time for questions. Timers are going to help us keep track of all this. So let's begin with opening statements by the mayoral candidates. Armand Nelson, then Ryan Sabas. Armand Nelson.
All right, thank you very much. I want to thank the League of Women Voters. Linda Rogers, thank you for moderating tonight, and the Champlin Women of Today for hosting tonight's event. I want to thank everyone that's in the audience for being here at home, and for those who are missing part of the game, so I appreciate that. So, my name is Armand Nelson. I'm mayor of Champlin. I've been married to my wife Pam for 24 years. We have lived just shy of 24 years in the city of Champlin. We moved in 3 months after we were married. We have 2 sons, Spencer, who's at St. Cloud State University, and Carter, who is at Champlin Park High School. I'm employed by Gander Mountain Stores. I've been with the company 32 years as an IT director. I've served our city, I've served our schools, I've served my church for most of the years that I've lived here. I was on council for 4 years prior to being elected mayor of Champlin. I want to continue to be mayor of Champlin because there's more to do and more to complete. We need to continue to work on the Mississippi crossings. This project needs to be done right. It's going to be, whatever we build there is going to be there for decades to come. So we need to take it slow and we need to do it correctly. Other important issues are how do we grow our tax base? We need to work on residential businesses to help balance our taxes within the city. We need to reevaluate the properties we have on Highway 169. We've had a number of properties that have sat empty for 10 to 17 years. I think it's time that we reevaluate the zoning that we have on those properties and work with the business owners to help them with the properties that they've been paying taxes on for a long time without benefit. We also need to continue to work on our budgets to ensure that we're putting money away for future infrastructure.
Ryan Sabas.
Good evening, and thank you to League of Women Voters for hosting tonight, and all of our attendees and those watching from home. And most importantly, our city staff for all the hard work and dedication to this city. It's time you all have a leader who will work tirelessly and be innovative and bring ideas to the drawing board. My name is Ryan Sabas, and I'm running for Champlin Mayor. If I'm elected Mayor of Champlin, I give you my word that I always do what's in the best interest of the Champlin residents. I have a passion for the city that cannot be matched. My roots are tied to the city as a homeowner, family man, and business owner. I'll always make myself readily available to Champlin residents. I am an honest, hardworking man who believes in a hard day's work. I have lived in Champlin my entire life and graduated from Champlin Park High School. Growing up in this town, I have seen change. I have seen where Champlin was and what it's become. I have a vision for the future of Champlin. And if elected mayor, I would love to hear the residents' views and visions as well. Together, we can make Champlin one of the best places to live and do business. We have a uniqueness about us of being a smaller community on the Mississippi, and what an asset that is, which many other communities wish they had. We have a great group of hardworking staff here in Champlin I've gotten to know over the last few years, and they deserve a leader who's willing to listen to their ideas and help them think outside the box when it comes to development and policy. The most important issue facing the city of Champlin is clearly the Mississippi Crossings development, which we've already spent over $17 million on. I will be the leader that is willing to make concise decisions that are not based off my personal or political gain or loss. I'll make these decisions what's on best for the city of Champlin. I have a wonderful partner in life, Haley. I'm a proud father of 3 wonderful children, Ella, Addie, and Channing. I'm currently the Parks and Recreation Commissioner and have been a CDA coach, and I'm very active in the community. My goal is to unite the residents, city staff, and council so we together can be proud of Champlin.
The first question has to do with housing and development, and Ryan Sabas will answer first. Much low-income housing was replaced to redevelop the riverfront. Should the city work to find ways to replace that loss to lower-income people?
After many discussions with city staff and people around the city, I believe that we need to depends on where the development is. If it's in an area that we deem reasonable spot for it, I believe that would be okay, but not in the Mississippi Crossings area and not off of our major highway 169. I don't believe we should put in what we just tore out. And that's my statement.
Armin Nelson.
Thank you. I believe we need to make sure that we have a full life cycle of housing for the residents that we have in Champlin. We have looked at a number of apartment areas and we've looked at different locations, and I don't think that we have found the right place for the apartments, and I think we need to continue to look. We have limited space in Champlin other than 169. And we need to continue to look at that issue and figure out what's the right place to do that if we decide to move forward with it.
The next question has to do with infrastructure. Many of our roads and bridges are in need of repair. What funding source would you propose to pay for these repairs? And Armin Nelson will go first.
The city of Champlin has been putting money away out of our general fund every year to ensure that we have money to pay for the infrastructure within our city. That's for roads, that's for sewers. So we need to make sure that we continue doing that. I think it's important that we are not that we don't put a burden on our future residents and the residents here that they have to borrow money in order to pay for the infrastructure. So we're putting away roughly 18% of our budget today to help pay for that infrastructure within the city.
Ryan Sabas.
We as a city always need to be aware of what needs attention and what needs replacement. Not getting behind on these things can help ease the burden and the cost on the city. I've been to many residents while I've been out in the neighborhoods, especially Ward 1, even a neighborhood over in Ward 2 that has crumbling streets. And the cost of replacing these after they've already got to a certain point is extremely higher than if we are proactive on this. So I believe it's something we need to pay attention to and continue to listen to the residents and hear when there's complaints about their streets or what they have going on.
Let's continue on that infrastructure theme. What are the pros and cons of changing the present fee system for stormwater and streetlights back to taxes? Ryan Sabus.
Is the question, why are we putting it on the fee rather than taxes? After talking with city staff about this, the $3 fee is fair to all residents. I am in favor of the $3 fee that was city council approved. We had to find a way to fund lights and to make it fair to every resident in the community of Champlin. We had to put a fee on our city bill and not put it on taxes, so residents with a more expensive home pays more than a resident with a less expensive home. That's the only way to make that a fair to every resident in the community.
Besides lighting, there's, as the other infrastructures that you had talked about, again, it's making it fair. Also, by putting some of these fees on your taxes, as your house value rises and your taxes rise, you'll start seeing an increase. That $3 fee that you're paying per month, per se, for lighting is going to get higher and higher as your values of your properties rise. So that $3 becomes it becomes more expensive for you. Also, with the fee, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. With that fee also then, what it allows us to do is to ensure we have, residents have an equal payment throughout the year.
We're going to change gears quite a bit and look at things through a younger person's eyes. This person is asking, how goes the future for a 10-year-old kid in Champlin? Armin Nelson.
Can you repeat that?
How goes the future for a 10-year-old kid?
The future in Champlin, I think, is very bright. We have a lot of businesses and retail in the town. It will help those people get jobs as they grow up and become a little bit older. I think we provide some great amenities within the city. We have some great athletic programs in the city that the CDAA, Rebels Soccer, Hockey Association, et cetera, does for our youth. The city also has a number of programs. We've added some amenities over the years. We just added the splash park for some of the younger kids, and we put in the skate park a number of years ago for some of the older kids. So I think we need to keep looking for ways for activities for kids as they grow through their a young age through an older age up into high school, and provide opportunities for them as we can.
Ryan Sabus.
Well, growing up in Champlin, I think it's a great community to grow up in. I was a part of the CDA program, playing basketball and soccer, and we have wonderful parks. I'm on a Park and Rec Commission here in Champlin, and Andrews Park with the new splash pad. My own kids love to go there all the time. And, you know, as Champlin overall is a great community, and I thoroughly enjoyed my childhood growing up here, and I believe anyone that's growing up currently in Champlin, there's lots to do as a child, and also I'd like to continue to find other ventures for teenagers and kids that are a little older, for something them to do as well as they get older, other than just the little ones.
Continuing that youth theme, regarding response and planning for youth needs, what are your thoughts on opening a homeless youth shelter in Champlin? Ryan Sabus.
If I'm correct, I believe Brooklyn Park is currently opening something like that. And so if they currently have that happening in their city, I don't believe it would be something that would be needed in Champlin at this time. If we could work together with our neighboring communities, that would be the best thought on that.
Armin Nelson.
I believe that we need to make sure that we're providing for all our youth. I also agree that we need to work with other facilities that are built. If we need to look at it in Champlin at someday, I think I'm always open to look at new opportunities to help our youth out and to help our kids out. So it's something I would certainly look at and determine if there's a place to do that.
Now we're really flip-flopping and moving to a different demographic. What are your ideas to make Champlin senior-friendly beyond building senior residences? Armin Nelson.
I think as a city, we need to support all ages. I think we need to continue to support the seniors in our community. There's a Champlin Senior Club, which I support very much. I'm glad of the things that Jerry does with that organization and that group, and provide activities for those seniors. I think we need to continue to look at programming, and if there's ways that we can effectively give programming at a fair dollar to those residents, because I know a lot of them are on fixed incomes, we should do that. Sometimes it's a matter of what is the right cost towards the expense, but I think we need to take a look at what we can do for them also.
Ryan Sabus.
That's a good question. I recently visited 2 of our senior facilities here in Champlin over the last couple weeks, spoke with a lot of the senior residents and heard their complaints or thoughts, I should say, on things to do for them here in Champlin. And one thing I constantly hear is volunteer. They want to volunteer for the city. I have recently spoke with our park and rec manager about different things for them to do in the city, and or ability to get to our parks. Transportation is a key issue with seniors. The ability to get them to our brand new Andrews Park facility. Maybe they want to play bingo outside at the picnic shelter there and volunteer to pick up things at the park or whatever it might be. Transportation is a big key, and I have spoke with our city staff about this in the last week. And also 2 of our senior facilities off of Hayden Lake Road to connect them to the trails over by like Veterans Memorial Park, and so they can get to different areas throughout the city, I think would be important. And I look forward to working with and visiting with the seniors some more.
We're going to have a couple questions regarding business in Champlin. Recently, the Star Tribune reported that Champlin lost a business to Brooklyn Park. Can you explain how this happened and how to avoid it in the future? Ryan Sabus.
Well, it's hard to always work against your neighbors when they're offering things that just aren't economically viable in your community. But what Champlin can do to help create the business growth in our city is show a council its willingness to work with the business community. I believe we need to be out there promoting our city, soliciting the city of Champlin as a great place to do business. I might be biased because I'm from Champlin, but I think this is the best city around here. I believe we are number one, and I want to promote that. And as mayor, I will do whatever it takes to help get quality business to Champlin, whether it's restaurants or retail or a hotel, whatever it might be. I believe we need to do what it takes to get the business into Champlin. Otherwise, our surrounding communities will continue to grow, and we will lose out on the ability to bring quality business to Champlin, let alone the tax base that it brings with it as well.
Armin Nelson.
I actually met with that company when they came to visit the facility in Champlin. The first things that they asked for is how many dollars is the city going to give them to move here. I believe in working with the businesses and trying to help them and try to promote the city. And that's what the mayor can do, is promote the city as well as he can and try to get those businesses here. We walked around, talked a little bit, but what they were really looking for was a new building, and they were looking for a lot of dollars. Now, I'm somewhat in favor of helping businesses if they want to move here, but it's a matter of what are they going to give us in return? Are they going to be eating in our restaurants during the lunch hour? Are they going to be shopping our businesses? Then I might look at it. Otherwise, I'm not in favor of its incentives to put the burden of the taxes they might not pay to the residents.
This question will allow both of you to expand a little bit on some of the ideas you just expressed. What are your plans to add business to Champlin? Armin Nelson.
I think some of the things that we need to do, as I talked about, looking at rezoning of some of the areas that we have. You know, some of the zoning that we have today isn't viable for some of the businesses that may want to come into Champlin. So I think we need to open that up. We need to reach out with the developers and the landowners and find those people that are interested in coming here. I think we need to continue to promote the city through videos, through mailings to companies. I think we need to spend some time targeting some companies and different businesses to come here. I recently just sent a letter to 2 different restaurants that a lot of people have been asking for. So I'm trying to reach out to some of these companies to try to generate some interest. And I rely on staff somewhat too to help reach out and find some of these businesses that they're hearing that they might be looking for new space they're in other cities looking.
Ryan Sabus.
As I said, we need to actively be promoting our city, out soliciting Champlin. While other cities around us have been developing, we have sat stagnant. And we need to develop our areas off Highway 169. We have some areas that have sat undeveloped for over 15 years, with no one in our local city promoting these areas as they should be. We don't need any more strip malls in Champlin. We need quality business and establishments such as restaurants, entertainment, professional buildings, possibly a hotel. The Elm Creek Commons area next to the movie theater needs to be addressed, just not to promote or create a tax base, but the development of these areas will help the other businesses that are located there. We need to stop thinking we're a drive-through city and become a place of destination. I want to spend my money at Champlin establishments, not Maple Grove, not Coon Rapids, where I live. I will make a point as mayor to bring in quality business to Champlin, entice business owners to bring their company here to our city.
We're going to move to the great outdoors. What is your position on parks in the city? Do we need more? Why or why not? Ryan Sabus.
Well, it's a good question for a Parks and Rec Commissioner, and I think our parks are in great condition. We've done a lot, even in the last couple of years while I've been on the commission, to improve our parks. Probably the most visible one is Andrews Park. We're currently redoing the softball facility there, and trying to promote bringing more tournaments and nicer structures there and a concession stand. It's been a wonderful facility, also with a splash pad and picnic shelter. It's great. We've done a couple other parks in the city in the last couple years. Over in Ward 1, we did a park, new baseball, softball field there, and I believe we need to continue to pay attention to our parks, never let them go, because parks are something that is a benefit to all the residents. And I thoroughly enjoy serving on the Parks and Rec Commission and being involved in that.
Armin Nelson.
I believe that the parks are a huge asset to the city. And our resident surveys in the past have shown that people want parks, people want us to maintain the parks, and they want to make sure that we keep them refreshed and updated. I served on the Park and Rec Commission for about 5 years. I was chair for about 4 years of that. And back at that time, we worked with the council to ensure that we were putting money away to update all our playgrounds. We've done that. Every playground in the city has been updated, and I think we need to still continue to reinvest in the parks as we have in Andrews Park, and I think we need to continue to look at the other parks at what amenities. There might be some areas in Champlin that we need to spend, maybe produce a new park. So I think we've always tried to balance and make sure there's a regional park in each ward of the city and making sure that there's enough neighborhoods. So as we have some areas in Champlin that grow, we'll have to reevaluate that.
Again, regarding the great outdoors and how we use it or abuse it, many cities across the country are working to reduce the impact of climate change in their communities. Do you think Champlin should be doing so as well? Armin Nelson.
We just turned on a solar power at the city. We worked with a company, actually a Champlin company, for the last year and a half to try to make this a reality. And we just turned it on, so we are getting our electricity where the excess is going back to the grid. And it also will help us in the long term with some of the costs, electricity costs that we have as a city. I think to help the environment, we also need to ensure that we continue to have open spaces. We're fortunate to have the Elm Creek Park Reserve here. We're fortunate to have quite a few parks in Champlin. And we also have the state land that's in Champlin that's down off 109th. So I think we've got a lot of great open space. We have Donnie Galloway Park also. So I think that open space helps us with our environment.
Ryan Sabus.
I believe it's always important as a city and as a city representative that we continue to strive to be better. And we need to constantly be thinking of how to do things better, whether it's being green. The solar panel project's a nice project. I'm not 100% in favor of how we went about getting them, but it's energy efficient, and whatever we can do to continue to make our city green. This is where we need to constantly be thinking outside the box and listen to our residents, and if they have ideas, I think that's important. Every resident should have input, whether it's with green or whatever issue we're talking about. It's always important to see if you can do things better than you currently are.
This question has to do with ability to work well with city government. Please describe any police citations in Champlin and other cities. How would they affect your relationship with the police department? Ryan Sabus.
Good question. I personally have the utmost respect for the Champlin Police Department. It takes a special kind of person to put their life on the line every time they clock in. I've recently met with our chief this week, and I didn't know him real well, and had a good conversation with him, and he seems like a real good guy, changing the culture of the Champlin Police Department. And we need to continue to work on our public image. We need to put a face to the department, and I will always give the funding to the Champlin Police Department to ensure they can do their job safely and effectively. I want to have the officers in the neighborhoods, whether it's in the summer on bikes, saying hi to residents and kids so they know who they can trust. We need to ensure we are effective against crime. As surrounding cities crack down on crime, we need to keep it out of our town. We don't want an image of crime here in Champlin. I want to keep an image of clean and safe community.
Armin Nelson.
I think I spend a lot of time with the police department. They're a bunch of great people. We've had some turnover recently of a number of police officers, and it's given us opportunity to get new police officers in town. When I was elected 2 years ago, I met with the police chief the morning after the election, or for lunch after the election. I asked him to bring back the bike program to the city of Champlin. I felt that the police officers, there's a lot of good officers here, and they need to get out and meet with the public, and not just when someone's getting pulled over or there's some situation going on. I think it's important that they get to know the residents and the residents get to know them, so they understand that the job that they're doing and the great job that they're doing. I've also had an opportunity to do a number of ride-alongs, get to know the police officers better, and try to understand what's going on in our city and how we can help them as a city council.
This will be the last question. Pick 3 of your top priorities for the city of Champlin. Armin Nelson.
I think I already stated those in my opening. I think we need to be growing our tax base responsibly with businesses and residential. We need to reevaluate what we're doing with the properties along 169 and make sure that we can give the people who own that land a chance to sell it and to grow our tax base within the city of Champlin by being open and allowing some additional opportunities there. I think the other piece is, again, with our budgets, ensuring that we're putting money away for the future so we're not borrowing money and having to pay a lot of extra money in debt costs that we see around a lot of other cities.
Ryan Sabus.
I believe the #1 issue currently facing the city of Champlin is the Mississippi Crossings development. We need to reasonably develop this, and I, as mayor, will provide the leadership to staff to put them in a direction that we need to do to get shovels in the ground on that development. By getting that developed responsibly, we'll create a nice tax break, or not tax break, but lessen the tax burden on the Champlin residents. Secondly, I believe keeping taxes low while maintaining our city services. Making sure we're always fiscally responsible, cut any and all wasteful spending, making sure we're effective and efficient with all departments within the city. Thirdly, communication and transparency with the residents. This is a very important issue. In this day and age, there's no reason we are not already having some sort of social media ran by the city. It is the most effective way to communicate with the residents. We need to always keep the residents involved and be sure they have transparency to the issues, just as the council does.
It's time for closing statements. Ryan Sabas.
Once again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters and everyone here tonight and those watching on TV. I am the non-politically affected candidate, and I believe in bringing a common sense approach to City Hall. I am not a politician. I'm an everyday guy whose passion for Champlin cannot be matched. This is my hometown, and I will always look out for what's in the best interest of Champlin residents. I make a promise that when elected mayor of Champlin, you will see positive change in our community. I will always work hard and diligently to ensure we are effective and efficient in all departments within the city. I will ask the questions that need to be asked, and we're always willing to work with anyone despite opposing viewpoints. I believe we need to always be fiscally conservative with your tax dollars and keep residents informed on all issues facing the city, good, bad, or ugly. My extensive knowledge of Champlin, paired with the common sense and business approach to makes me the best candidate for the job. Despite who signs in your lawn, I ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 4th. Now is the time to get the city moving forward on development of our prime areas so that we don't continue to miss out on opportunities to surrounding cities. Thank you, and thank Armin.
All right, thank you.
Armin Nelson.
Hi. I believe that we need strong leadership in the city of Champlin. I think that we need experience within the city of Champlin to continue the growth that we've been doing and making our city successful. He just talked about communications. We are launching an email program this coming year so that we can continue to communicate with our residents. And we are talking about what the social media piece of that is within that email portion. City Council, we have a lot of different opinions on the City Council, and I think we do a good job of serving the residents and working through the issues that happen within the City of Champlin. I believe that we can respect each other and make sure that we make the right decisions for the city and for the residents. And at the end of the day, we can have a good discussion personally and not politically.
And now, opening statements for City Council, Ward 1, Ryan Karasik, then Ron Rosen. Ryan Karasik.
First off, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters and the women of today for putting this on today. Hi, my name is Ryan Karasik. I'm your Ward 1 City Councilman. And I love this city. I really do. Being your City Councilman has been an honor and a privilege and something that I take very seriously. Aside from raising my 2-year-old daughter, this has been the most rewarding experience of my life. I'm committed to keeping your taxes low while providing opportunities for children and our seniors. I'm committing to keep your neighborhood safe and your streets safe while providing an environment for businesses to grow and prosper. But Champlin is much more than that. Champlin is parks, trails, and the Mississippi River. Champlin is community, close-knit neighborhoods, and great friends. Champlin is the place we love. and most importantly, is a place we call home. And I'm committed to making this home the best that it can be. I'm Ryan Krosick, your Ward 1 City Councilman, and I'm asking for your vote this November 4th. Thank you.
Ron Rosen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Thank you for attending tonight's event, and to all the viewers at home tuning in on QCTV. I would also like to give a special thanks to the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's event and to QCTV for televising it. It's very important that as voters, you have as much information as possible to judge a candidate's strengths and weaknesses, poise and candor, character, and resolve. I would like to start by stating that I am not a politician. I am a 43-year-old father of 3 adult children and a small business owner. I grew up in a lower income home, the oldest of 3 children. I learned at an early age what it meant to go without, how to make do with what you had, and to make every penny count. Ideals that were instilled to me at an early age by my grandmother, who grew up during the Great Depression. I never had money to throw at a problem. I just rolled up my sleeves, dug in, and got the job done. Ward 1 is the oldest, most socially and economically diversified part of the city. This diversity is what makes Ward 1 stand out, and it is so very important that we elect someone to City Council who not only stands out themselves, but who will also stand up for the rights and the will of the people. The job of council member requires the ability to put away personal goals and ambitions and to do what is in the best interests of the majority, regardless if it conflicts with personal beliefs or political benefit. Possessing the ability to relate to everyone who you represent is not only an essential attribute of a good leader, it is absolutely mandatory. I feel that I have developed this attribute throughout the course of my life. My personal struggles have defined who I am, and my character can be found through my actions. My name is Ron Rosen, and it would be my honor to serve as your next Ward 1 Council representative.
You're going to be hearing some of the same questions that the mayoral candidates were asked. I'm going to encourage the audience to submit questions for our city council, potential city council members as well. Ron Rosen will answer the first question, and we're going to do this kind of bookend thing again and focus on youth first. How goes the future for a 10-year-old kid?
Very promising. We have parks that are well developed. We have the CDA soccer, football, hockey programs, which I'm a coach of. I've coached CDA soccer and football for 9 years. We have a lot of businesses that we can bring into Champlin to provide jobs for entry-level positions, and we do have a lot of businesses here, such as Dairy Queen, such as Culver's. We have a lot of opportunity for the youth of our children, or for the youth of our city. So I think the future is very bright for Champlin.
Ryan Krosick.
I also think the future is very bright for a 10-year-old kid in Champlin. We have a lot of opportunities through our Parks and Recreation Department as far as summer activities, as far as winter activities, hockey, skating, soccer, baseball, softball, everything for a kid that they want to do during the summertime and wintertime. One of the things, though, I think is critical for a 10-year-old child in our community is safety. Our police department is second to none. They drive around and they keep an eye on kids and do what they can to keep them safe. Our bike patrol that we have, which I thought was a fantastic idea as well, Armin brought up earlier, driving around and giving ice cream coupons to kids that are driving around wearing their helmets, which is a fantastic program that we have. And there are a lot of things that we can continue to do to promote opportunities for our young people.
What are your thoughts on opening a homeless youth shelter in Champlin? Ryan Krosick.
I think that our goal in Champlin is to create an environment to prevent homeless youths by providing opportunities to create growth in business and create growth in our community and programs that we have. I think that it is critical that we reach out to homeless kids and families that are in the area and do whatever we can to help promote them. If there's an opportunity in a location where a homeless program or a building could be located, I would certainly be willing to sit down and talk with anybody that might be interested in doing that.
Ron Rosen.
Actually, I agree with Ryan on that issue. Growing up in a low-income house myself, I understand the needs and the wants and the lack of ability sometimes. And to tie it in with what we had spoken about before with senior-friendly activities. Speaking with the residents of Champlin Shores, they were concerned about the lack of communication between the youth of our city and with the seniors. And that would be a great tie-in. We look at more activities for the seniors, bring them in to the youth shelter, and have the ability to talk, to play games, to share experiences, to teach, to counsel. So I think if it was fiscally doable, it would be something I would definitely look into.
And again, looking at another demographic, what are your ideas to make Champlin senior-friendly beyond building senior residences? Ron Rosen.
And right back at that same issue. With speaking with the residents, they want to be more active in the community. The problems are transportation, lack of facilities, especially in the wintertime. There are trails back behind the senior high-rises, but to have an activity center where we can transport and have communication with the youth of the city of Champlin. The seniors are looking to be active, and I think we need to work better at providing an atmosphere that they can proceed with that.
I've been very active with our seniors here in Champlin through the Mill Pond Gables and through Champlin Shores. I regularly stop by the Mill Pond Gables. It's just an opportunity where we can meet a number of seniors and older people in one sitting, and I've been stopping by there almost every month for quite some time now, and I've listened to their needs, and their concerns are transportation. Their concerns are programs that are available. In fact, in our budget work session that we had just this past Monday, I made it a priority that we talked about opening up options for seniors in the community. We spend considerable amounts of money for programs for our youth, which I absolutely agree with. But I think it's important that we also don't forget about the people that brought these kids up and their grandkids that are now coming through these programs, and we take care of our seniors in Champlin.
Switching gears now to the Mississippi Crossing Development Project. How would you vote on creating tax increment financing district for the Mississippi Crossing Development Project? Ryan Karasik.
Tax increment financing is an important tool, financing tool for a city to develop certain areas that have become run down or need redevelopment. The Mississippi Crossings, in 1999, there was a group of 26 residents got together and put together a plan and a vision to redevelop the Mississippi Crossings area. And it's a process that has taken obviously many years and a lot of steps along the way. Creating a tax increment district in there, which we actually voted on, is certainly an important thing to do to help finance the other infrastructure portions of that project, including a parking ramp that will help facilitate the restaurant, the Village Green area, and the apartments.
Ron Rosen.
I agree with a lot of what Ryan said. I do believe we have to be careful with using TIF financing to develop certain areas. But as far as the Mississippi Crossings goes, we need to get moving on the project. The mayor and the city council are the representatives of this community, and they need to aggressively seek out businesses and developers to move forward with the project. We have over $17 million spent so far on this project, and we're basically back to square one in terms of interest. We also need more input from the residents and business owners. The Riverfront project should be a showcase of how city officials, administration, business owners, and residents can work to accomplish something extraordinary.
Much low-income housing was replaced to redevelop the riverfront. Should the city work to find ways to replace that loss to lower-income people? Ron Rosen.
Absolutely. We are a diverse community, and we need housing for low income to the rich. Obviously, we need to do it in an appropriate manner, but to exclude somebody of lesser means would not be the Champlin way.
Ryan Karasik.
I agree. I think that there is an opportunity for that. We did eliminate a lot of lower income housing in our Mississippi Crossings development. Earlier this year, we sat down and had a discussion with the developer that was interested in putting in a lower income housing apartment facility. There's a time and a place for that. It was a situation where they were requiring, if I remember correctly, around $200,000 of subsidies from the city as well in order to do that. The problem with low-income housing is not the people. The problem is that creating this product it's not as profitable for a business to do that. So oftentimes they need to get funding from the state and funding from a city in order to make that project work.
Moving back to infrastructure and roads in particular. Many of our roads and bridges are in need of repair. What options would you support to fund road maintenance as well as new roads? Ryan Karasik.
We pride ourselves in one thing that the city of Champlin has done an exceptional job of, I think, and many years ago they put together a comprehensive financial management plan. And as a part of that financial management plan, we put a percentage of our tax dollars, I think Armin mentioned it earlier, I want to say it's about 18% of our tax dollars that go towards future infrastructure spending. And by doing that, it allows us to not have to borrow money in the future to do road projects. We can do it in a timely way as it comes up. We do have a capital improvement project plan that goes out many years, and we're looking at these roads and finding out what levels of disrepair they're in and what timing they have in order for us to best spend that money so we can be most efficient, not have to replace entire roads. Sometimes we just can repair them.
Ron Rosen.
As far as the financing goes, both Armin and Ryan have explained that properly. That's something that we need to continue to invest and to save money towards the roads. But as far as the road conditions are concerned, it's interesting. I had just spoken with the resident, and he described our ward, Ward 1, as the little orphan Annie of road construction in our city. And I asked him how, to expel upon that. And if you have ever gone down South Diamond Lake Road off of Dayton Road, if you've ever traveled down Dean Avenue, some of these roads are in such disrepair, it's saddening. And what's even more saddening is the fact that they've gotten to this point. I think we need to do a better job of maintaining our roads, especially in Ward 1.
Moving to business. What are your plans to add business to Champlin? Ron Rosen.
We need to be aggressive. We have a Highway 169 corridor that, regardless of what it said in the Champlin Chronicle, we still have many available properties, both with existing buildings and with undeveloped land. A quick drive down 169 and you can see the acres of land to be developed. We need to aggressively pursue businesses for these properties. It does bring hope to see progress, but with the new businesses that have arrived, but more work needs to be done.
Ryan Karasik.
About 5 years ago, I invented a tool for the wine and beer making industry that I then received a patent on and promoted and marketed and sell now throughout the entire world. I like to use that creative problem-solving experience and the marketing aspect of that to look at Champlin as an opportunity that we can sell ourselves to the world, sell ourselves to businesses, sell ourselves to opportunities for other businesses to come into Champlin. I think that the city can and should do an aggressive marketing plan to go out there, talk to businesses, find out what the residents want in the community, and find out what businesses are looking for and where they'd like to go. I think it's critical that we reach out to these businesses and actively pursue them to come to the city.
Back to infrastructure and taxes. What are the pros and cons of changing the present fee system for stormwater and streetlights back to taxes? Ryan Karasik.
I think this is an exceptional question. I have gone round and round on it many times, and I look at it like this. Stormwater and sewer is a completely different fee than the streetlight utility fee. The streetlight utility fee isn't tied to a property value. When one person owns a $500,000 house and another person owns a $150,000 house, they don't get disproportionate use out of the streetlights. And the streetlight fee that we put together, I thought was equitable, and I think that it's fair for all residents that are living in Champlin, despite what their property value is. And as far as creating a tax, attaching that as a tax rather than a fee would be an unfair thing to do.
Ron Rosen.
Actually, I haven't delved into this issue enough. I've read both sides, and I do agree with Ryan and Armin regarding the $3 fee versus the percentage. But obviously, if we're running into a flat fee, $3 may not seem like a lot. But if you do own a $500,000 home, $3 compared to if you own a $100,000 home, the percentage is much higher towards somebody who owns a $100,000 home. So that's something I think we need to look at and address.
Ron Rosen, this question is directed to you. Mr. Rosen, as a matter of public record, you recently sued the City of Champlin as well as 3 Champlin police officers, resulting in a personal financial gain. If you are elected, how will this lawsuit affect your relationship with city staff and the police department?
That's a good question. Imagine kissing your family goodbye and going to work not knowing if you will ever see them again because your job requires you to put your life on the line. That is what police officers do every day. I have the utmost respect for the service and dedication of our police force. Does the Champlin Police Department have an image problem? According to many residents, yes. Can we fix that? Absolutely. If I am elected, I will push for a citizen advisory board to help mitigate, address, and resolve issues between the police department and the residents. The incident that happened was unfortunate, but I believe that it was my right, but more importantly, my responsibility to stand up for my constitutional rights as a homeowner. A federal judge and a federal jury agreed with me. The matter has been concluded. It's been resolved.
I'd just like to comment regarding the police as far as the City of Champlin every 5 years does a survey. And our recent survey suggested that the residents say that 94% of the Champlin residents say that our police department is doing either a good or an excellent job. Regarding my opponent's lawsuit against the city and the police officers and the subsequent financial gain, it's not something I'm interested in commenting on. I'm focused on the future of Champlin. I'm focused on what I can do to best support the residents of Champlin and how I can best support our youth and our seniors and everyone.
Okay, we're taking it back into the outdoors again. What is your position on parks in the city? Do we need more? Why or why not? Ryan Karasik.
I love this question. As I mentioned earlier, I have a 2-year-old daughter who I adore. And every day I pick her up. She goes, "Daddy, can I go to the park?" And I drive her around and I try to pick out different parks to take her to. She loves going to the parks. We'll play in one park in one area. My wife and I will go for a bike ride and we'll try to find different parks in the area. I think that Champlin prides itself in its parks and what we do to make them better and take care of them and offer opportunities for different things to do in the parks and make different parks different. It's important for us to value that. Not only does it increase the property values, because people love to live next to parks. Champlin is a wonderful community, and I love it just for the parks. Thank you.
Ron Rosen.
Yeah, Champlin has a great park system. Having raised children here for 10 years, I've utilized many of the park systems. As far as developing new parks, it would have to evolve around whether the demographics would call for it. Obviously, neighborhoods change, kids grow up, new families move in, and we'd have to look at if that would be acceptable financially, if the residents in that area would want it, and if we can afford it into the budget.
Many cities across the country are working to reduce the impact of climate change in their communities. Do you think Champlin should be doing so as well? Ron Rosen.
Well, obviously the solar panels are installed and operational, so that's a step that we've taken. We'll have to see if they pay off. Obviously, my opinion on solar technology is that we're still a technical generation from being economically viable, especially in the northern climate. We can look at other issues regarding cleaner burning fuels for our company vehicle or for our city vehicles. There's ways that we can lessen the amount of fuel that we use. But yes, absolutely, we need to look into green solutions. We need to see if they're viable.
Ryan Karasik.
I think what the city has done and what is continuing to do regarding the effects of climate change, or at least the opportunities that we can use green energy, is substantial. Just a couple of weeks ago, myself and my fellow council member, Bruce Miller, had an opportunity to get a tour of our $1.3 million solar array above our buildings. This is an amazing project that we put together. Not only is it made in Minnesota, but this project was installed by a company right here in Champlin. So we're creating business opportunities here in Champlin as well. And over the life of that project, over the life of the warranted life of those solar panels, it's expected to develop $1 million of power and savings to the city of Champlin that we didn't have to pay for because we got it through state grants and utility company rebates.
This will be the last question before your closing statements. What makes you most proud of the city of Champlin? Ryan Karasik.
I'm proud of the city of Champlin by the way we treat each other. I have amazing friends, an amazing family, and amazing neighbors. We have fantastic parks, we have a wonderful staff, and we have wonderful utility departments, we have wonderful trail systems. I'm most proud of Champlin when I tell somebody why I live here, because of the opportunity that we have and the beauty of all of Champlin. And I think that everybody needs to sit back once in a while and appreciate what we do have in the city and give what you can back to the community.
Ron Rosen.
Well, living here for 10 years, running a business where I have personal contact with the residents have become my friends, my neighbors. I've grown to know that we have pride in our city, and we need and we work together to make our city better. I love the city of Champlin, and I'm running for city council to make it a better place, a proud place to call home, and a proud place that I can someday bring my grandkids to live here.
It's time for closing statements. Ron Rosen.
The residents of Champlin need strong leadership that will stand up to the department heads and city administrator and insist that we find a better way to spend the taxpayers' money. We need aggressive leadership that will find a way to encourage business owners to move here or expand here. We need fresh leadership that will bring new ideas and different ways of solving the problems that face our city. We need common sense leadership that will listen to the will of the people, act in their best interests, Strong, aggressive, common-sense leaders are what the business and residents, owners deserve. We have chosen to put our roots down in Champlin, raise our families, start businesses, and be active members of the community. Our exceptional city deserves extraordinary leadership. Please vote on November 4th. Many honorable men and women have given their lives to this great country so you and I can keep democracy alive. My name is Ron Rosen, and it would be my honor to serve as your next Ward 1 Council representative. Thank you and good evening.
Ryan Karasik.
I would like to make my closing statements by telling a story. My mother, whom I love dearly, grew up in the same town, northern Minnesota town, for her entire life. Never lived more than 10 miles away from where she grew up. And this year, she gave all that up and moved down here to be in Champlin with myself and my brothers. I want to give my mother the same opportunities that she had in Duluth, as well as your families and my families, and give back. Some days I wake up and I wear a blue collar. Some days I wake up and wear a white collar. Every day I wake up and put on a badge that says, I'm a Champlin City Councilman for Ward 1, and I'm proud to be it. Thank you, and please vote for me November 4th.
For City Council Ward 2, Dave Miles will be on the ballot but has stopped campaigning. Paul Wolf is unable to attend. For City Council Ward 2, Eric Johnson, your opening statement.
Man, I hate going last. Okay. First off, I do want to do a final thanks from the City Council and the candidates running here, thanking the League of Women Voters, Champlin Women of Today, also QCTV for sitting in the control room and putting it on and rebroadcasting it, and for the city for making the facility available. In particular, I want to thank you, Linda, for moderating, and Jerry for doing the organization that you do. It is my understanding that Mr. Miles and Mr. Wolf are actually both off the ballot now. Both have decided that they don't have the time to commit to City Council, but their names will be on the ballot. But I understand they don't have time. A little bit about me. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm your current Ward 2 councilman. I have been for 8 years, 2 terms. Prior to that, I was on the Planning Commission for I believe 4 years. I've got a wife of 25 years, 2, they say grown children. I say they're 18 and 20, so I don't know if they're grown or not, because they're still cashing my checks. One is at school at St. Cloud, the other one's at school at North Hennepin. They both graduated through the Anoka Hennepin School District. I'm second generation business owner, our business located in Brooklyn Park. My mother founded the business 43 years ago. My 2 sisters, myself, run it today with about 40 employees. My answers are really going to be short tonight because a lot of what you have heard here is kind of where I fall as well. So y'all time in there, you're not going to have too much work for me. So I've always done my job in a very straightforward, honest, common sense way. And if elected for the next 4 more years, I will continue to do that. That's it.
All right. Then I'm giving you my favorite questions that were submitted tonight.
Oh, yay.
How goes the future for a 10-year-old kid?
Oh, to be 10 again. Wouldn't it be great? You got all these parks to play in. You got all these programs you can do. You got football. You got lacrosse now. You got a splash pad. I might go play in the splash pad myself one day. Hope the kids don't mind, but you know, it's good. Everybody else has said it's bright. I'm going to say it's good. You got technology available to them. You got schools. You know, as long as we continue doing the things we've been doing, I think the future life for a 10-year-old is looking super duper.
What are your thoughts on opening a homeless youth shelter in Champlin?
You know, I don't think it's the city's role to actually open up a homeless shelter. However, if a private developer were to, or a nonprofit organization were to bring something to the council, I'd be happy to take a look at it. If it makes viable sense for the city, if there's a need for it in the community, we'll certainly take a look at it and decide on if it makes sense.
Recently, the Star Tribune reported that Champlin lost a business to Brooklyn Park. Can you explain how this happened and how to avoid it in the future?
Which business are they referring to? Can you say? No?
I'm not aware.
Okay. You know, there's been a variety, there's been a lot of development in Brooklyn Park. They've been doing a lot of incentives to bring a lot of business from neighboring cities to their city. I'm not a huge proponent of giving away the farm to bring a business to town. We've had a number of people look at different buildings in town, different opportunities, and like was said earlier, if the incentives don't make sense, then I'm not in favor of it. If it makes sense to do something, then we'll take a look at it. But it's really hard to compete with a neighboring city that's 3 times our size. And when developers come and say, I want this, you can't give it to them, you can't give it to them.
What are your plans to add business to Champlin?
You know, the city's role is to really make an environment where a business wants to come here. We have good streets, good infrastructure. It's a safe community. We have a viable workforce here. We have zoning ordinances that support putting a business here. So as long as we do that, businesses will continue taking a look at Champlin, and we'll do what we can do to bring businesses here.
Related to business, but housing as well, much low-income housing was replaced to develop the riverfront. Should the city work to find ways to replace that loss to lower-income people?
The city has been taking a look at ways to replace some of that housing. Will it be in that location? Maybe, maybe not. We participate in the comprehensive plan. We look out 20, 30 years. We say what type of housing is needed. We want to have life cycle housing for all people, whether they're young, old, rich, poor, whatever it is. We want to have a nice variety of housing so we have a nice, diverse community. Am I answering too fast for you? I'll try to slow down a little bit.
I think your pace is just fine, and you'll be having a shorter time since you're doing such an excellent job of being succinct.
Cool.
Infrastructure question. Many of our roads and bridges are in need of repair. What funding source would you propose to pay for these repairs?
The city has a pavement management plan. We have a comprehensive plan. We have a fiscal management plan. We have a lot of plans that are focused on making sure that what we do today is not being put on the backs of our kids for tomorrow. We set money aside for roads, for different projects. We make sure that the worst roads are getting fixed. We make sure that the sort of worst roads are getting repaired so that they don't become a much bigger project down the road. We kind of use a pay-as-you-go plan. We're not going to borrow to do a lot of this. It's just not in our nature. And I guess, you know, funding sources, it comes out of the general fund, the street fund. So that answer the question?
Again, regarding funding, taxes, infrastructure, what are the pros and cons of changing the present fee system for stormwater and streetlights back to taxes?
Let's face it, a fee is a tax. Mr. Heitkamp, sitting back in the corner there, every time he might propose something like that, that's the first thing he says. We all know a fee is a tax. About the only difference is it's not something that you can deduct on your taxes. We actually had a pro forma done this year to figure out what was the actual effect if we were to take all the fees that we charge and put it on part of the property tax. The amount that somebody would be able to deduct on their property tax was pretty much negligible. I think a fee is a very specific, it gives you an excellent idea of where that money is going to. For a storm sewer fee, that money is going to storm sewers. For a streetlight fee, that money is going to a streetlight fee. So it's very transparent as having it a fee as opposed to on a property tax.
And one more question. Many cities across the country are working to reduce the impact of climate change in their communities. Do you think Champlin should be doing so as well?
Like we said earlier, we've got the solar farm up on the building here. I don't hope it doesn't fall through. You know, solar is a very viable option. As was announced today in the paper, the Minneapolis airport has decided to take half of the entire parking facility roof and make it a solar farm, thereby generating 20% of the power needs for the airport. We've already taken that step, so I guess we're one step ahead of the Minneapolis airport. We can continue to do things. We have a great recycling program that was implemented with the help of the ERC, Environmental Resource Commission, to do the research for that. If there's anything else we can do to make our community more earth-friendly, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Eric Johnson, your closing statement.
Oh boy, I don't have a closing statement other than thank everybody for being here. Again, I thank you guys. If elected to serve another term for Ward 2, I promise I will be as straightforward and easygoing as I am today. Vote for me.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters, Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids area, thank you candidates for your willingness to speak tonight and to run for public office. Thank you, audience, for coming in person or for viewing on cable. Visit the League's website or mnvotes.org for election information. Vote November 4th. This concludes the Champlin City Candidates Forum. Thank you.